I don't feel like I've been playing board games for a really long period of time, but I've managed to live through a print cycle of one of Rainier Nietzsche's more popular games, Ra. There's a new edition coming out for it, and I've been flooded with requests to cover it for the benefit of people who may want to get in on this game now that they have the chance. Well, sounds like I better get started. Wait, what? Oh, you mean now? Oh, right. Sorry about that. The object of Ra is to score points by collecting sets of tiles that are drawn from a bag and put up for auction. Mixed in with these tiles are special tiles that signal the approaching end of a round. Sets are scored at the end of a round, and after the third round, whoever has the most points wins. On your turn, you have three options. You can draw a tile from the bag. If it's anything other than one of these Ra tiles, you add it to the auction track and your turn is over. Otherwise, an auction is called. Auctions can be called in one of two ways. A player can voluntarily call one as their turn action, or one can be called automatically by a player drawing a Ra tile from the bag on their turn. Every player is given a starting set of bidding tiles that they can use to bid on the lot that's currently on the auction track. The auction is a once-around type, and the person who called the auction gets the final bid. If the auction was forced, then nobody has to bid, and the track can continue to grow to its maximum size. If a player voluntarily called the auction, then that player has to bid on the lot if nobody else does. Once you've won an auction, you exchange your winning bid tile with the one in the center of the board. That tile can't be used until the next round, so every player is able to win at most 3 auctions per round. Among the different types of tiles are these golden god tiles. The player can use their turn action to discard a god tile and take one of the tiles currently on the auction track. Scoring is triggered for a round when the final Ra tile is drawn. Instead of an auction, both the Ra and the auction tracks are flushed, and the players score their sets. Here's a quick rundown of the different tile sets you'll be trying to collect. So the game is people drawing tiles and bidding on lots. It doesn't seem like a highly engaging game until you realize that the one tile you need is right there in that lot along with a disaster tile. Now, there's probably 1 or 2 copies of that tile floating around in the bag, but the round is almost over and 2 other players have bidding tiles higher than yours. Oh, and if your friends are anything like mine, they're demanding you decide right now what you're gonna do. Not so simple anymore, is it? The amount of interesting decisions per game is excellent. Also, since auctions are called on a regular basis, there's never any reason to not be paying attention to the game when it's not your turn, unless you blow all of your sun tiles in the first 3 auctions. The scoring is admittedly a little complicated. There are some excellent player mats available on the old BGG though, so everyone is assured to be aware of what tiles they need. I have the Uberplay edition of the game, which is no longer in print. There's a reprint available from Rio Grande Games, but there are people who have complaints about the component design decisions. This is definitely a matter of taste, but it can kind of be a downer for people who have certain expectations about component quality. One characteristic of auction games is that they usually require players to be able to determine what other players might value something at, without knowing what it is they have or need. This is usually only possible through multiple play sessions. Ra does well in this department because while point totals are hidden, all tile collections are public, so it makes it that much easier to figure out what you want to spend your last bidding tile on. If you can't get your hands on an earlier version for a reasonable price, then a poor component Ra is better than no Ra at all, if you ask me. It's fun for experienced gamers and can be taught fairly easily to a willing group of newer gamers, so long as scoring conditions are made very, very clear. This one gets a sun tile bid of 16. A must-have, especially if it's your first auction game.